My wife accidentally sent me a selfie in lingerie she never wore for me. Wrong person, she texted a minute later. That night, I set up a candlelit dinner. When she walked in smiling, I held up my phone and asked, who was it supposed to be for? Her smile vanished as I swiped to the next screenshot, a picture of him. I didn't see it coming. Rachel and I had been together for 10 years, married for 7. We had a routine. Coffee in the morning, work, dinner together, movie nights on Fridays. Some weekends were exciting, most were just regular. Comfortable. At least, that's what I thought. Turns out, she had a whole other life I knew nothing about. It was a normal Tuesday. I was at work, just another day filled with emails and meetings. My phone buzzed, and I glanced at it, expecting something mundane, a grocery list, a funny meme, maybe a love you text. Instead, I saw her. A picture of Rachel in lingerie. Red. Lace. I had never seen it before. She was standing in our bedroom. Her pose, her expression, it wasn't for me. I knew that instantly. Then, another text. Wrong person. My hands went cold. I stared at my screen for what felt like forever, trying to process what I had just seen. At first, I thought it had to be a joke. Maybe she bought it as a surprise and sent the picture to me by accident. But the wrong person text? That was panic. That was damage control. I didn't text back. I didn't call. I just sat there, heart pounding, mind racing. I needed to be sure. I put my phone down, told my boss I wasn't feeling well, and drove home. I needed proof. When I got home, the house was quiet. Rachel was still at work. I went straight to her nightstand, nothing unusual. Checked the closet, nothing new. Then, I opened our laptop. Rachel wasn't great with technology. She thought deleting messages made them disappear completely. She didn't know about backups, didn't realize things could be recovered. I found everything. Texts, photos, emails, and hotel reservations. She had been seeing someone for months. It wasn't a fling. It wasn't just a mistake. It was planned. His name was Chris, a coworker. The text made it clear. They had inside jokes, talked about work, complained about me. And then, the pictures. Not just the one she sent by accident. There were more. A lot more. Some from hotel rooms. Some from our bedroom. I felt like I was going to be sick. I sat there, staring at the screen, reading message after message. Every word chipped away at the life I thought I had. She had lied to my face. For months. I closed the laptop, took a deep breath. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to argue. I was going to let her do the talking. I cooked dinner. I set the table, lit candles, poured wine. I made everything look perfect. When Rachel came home, she smiled. She kissed my cheek, said, "What's all this?" Like she had no idea. Like everything was fine. I played along. Told her I just wanted to do something nice. We sat down. Ate. She talked about work. Told me a story about some annoying client, completely unaware that I already knew the truth. I let her talk. Then, when she was mid-bite, I pulled out my phone. "Hey, Rachel," I said, keeping my voice steady. I turned my screen toward her. Who was this supposed to be for? She froze. Her fork hovered in the air. She stared at the screen. Her face went pale. I swiped. A picture of him. Chris. I watched as every excuse, every lie, ran through her head. Finally, she swallowed and said, I don't know what, cut the bullshit." She flinched. "How long?" I asked. My voice was calm. Colder than I thought it would be. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Looked down at her plate like maybe the answer was in there. "How long, Rachel?" "A few weeks," she whispered. I laughed. I actually laughed. "A few weeks." I pulled out my phone again. Swiped to the hotel reservation. "This says 4 months ago. Try again." She blinked fast, like maybe she could cry her way out of this. 6 months, she said, voice shaking. "That's closer," I said. "Want to try for the truth? Or do I have to read the text out loud?" Her lip trembled. She looked at me like I was some kind of stranger. Because in that moment, I was. The husband she thought she knew? The guy who loved her unconditionally, who would forgive her. He was gone. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. She tried everything. She said it didn't mean anything. She said she never stopped loving me. She said she felt neglected. She blamed me. Said I wasn't as affectionate anymore. Said she felt unappreciated. I let her talk. Let her dig herself deeper. Then, when she was done, I asked, "Did you ever plan on telling me?" Silence. She looked down. That was my answer. She wasn't sorry she did it. She was sorry she got caught. I stood up. Her eyes widened. "Where are you going?" I grabbed my coat. "My keys. Somewhere you're not." Her face crumpled. "Please, can we talk about this?" "We are talking," I said. "You just don't like the conversation." She stood up fast, knocking over her wine glass. "I'll end it," she said, desperate now. "I swear. I'll block him. I'll quit my job. Just please, Rachel." She shut up. I looked her dead in the eyes. "You already ended it." I walked out. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt free. I didn't go far. I got in my car, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. My mind was spinning, but I didn't start the engine. I wasn't ready to drive. Instead, I just sat there, staring out the windshield at the streetlights, breathing in and out, trying to process what just happened. Inside, Rachel was probably pacing, crying, calling her friends, maybe even Chris. Or maybe she was just sitting there, staring at the spilled wine, wondering how she got caught. I thought about going to a hotel. Thought about going to my brother's place. But something stopped me. I wasn't done yet. Rachel had lied to me for months. That wasn't something I could fix in one dinner. And if she thought I was just going to walk away and let her rewrite the story, let her play the victim, she was dead wrong. I had one last thing to do before I left for good. I wanted to see how far she'd go to keep lying. I walked back in, slow and quiet. Rachel was sitting at the kitchen table, elbows on her knees, head in her hands. When she heard me, she jumped up like a guilty kid caught sneaking out. "You came back," she whispered, eyes wide and hopeful. I nodded. Her face crumpled. "I'm so sorry," she choked out. "Are you?" I asked. "Yes." She rushed toward me, grabbing my hands. I let her think she still had a chance. "Then tell me everything," I said. Her fingers twitched in mine. "I already did," she said weakly. I tilted my head. "No, you didn't." She swallowed hard. "I told you it was a mistake." I pulled my hands away. "A mistake is spilling coffee on your shirt. A mistake is missing an appointment. Booking hotel rooms and sneaking around for 6 months isn't a mistake, Rachel. That's a choice." Tears welled up in her eyes. But I wasn't falling for it. "Tell me the truth," I said, folding my arms. "The whole truth. Every detail. Or I walk, and we never speak again." I watched the gears turn in her head. She was trying to figure out what I already knew and what she could still get away with. And then as she cracked, "I ended it weeks ago," she blurted out. I raised an eyebrow. "Weeks?" She nodded too fast. "Yes. I knew it was wrong. I regretted it, and I ended it. That's why I sent the picture to you today, because I wanted to fix things." I almost laughed. She was still lying. "That's interesting," I said, pulling my phone from my pocket. "Because this was sent 2 days ago." I pulled up a screenshot of her last hotel confirmation. Rachel's face drained of color. She was caught again. She sat down hard, pressing her palms to her forehead. "I'm sorry," she muttered. "For what?" I asked, staring her down. "For cheating or for getting caught?" She wiped her eyes. "Both. So, tell me everything." And finally, she did. She met Chris at work. At first, it was just innocent. A few laughs. Work lunches. Inside jokes. Then, the text started. Then, the harmless flirting. Then, one night, after a work event, she went to his hotel room instead of coming home. After that, it was a routine. Secret meetups. Texting constantly. Using work as an excuse. "He made me feel alive," she whispered. "Like I was seen again." I clenched my jaw. And I didn't. She shook her head fast. "No. I mean, yes you did. But it wasn't the same. We got so comfortable, and I don't know. I was stupid." I stared at her. She expected me to understand. To nod and say, "Yeah, I get it, babe. It happens." But all I felt was rage. My plan was simple. Get the truth, walk away, and never look back. But then Rachel said something that changed everything. "He's married," she whispered. I froze. "What, Chris? He's married." A slow, burning heat spread through my chest. "You mean to tell me this wasn't just an affair? It was a double affair?" She nodded. Now, I wasn't just pissed. I was seeing red. "Does his wife know?" I asked. Rachel hesitated. "I don't think so." I pulled out my phone. "Wait," she panicked. "What are you doing?" "Finding her." Rachel grabbed my arm. "No, please, just let it go." "Let it go? Let it go?" I clenched my jaw so tight my teeth ached. Rachel had shattered our marriage. Lied to me. Betrayed me. And now she wanted me to stay silent so Chris could go back to playing the perfect husband? Not a chance. I pulled away from her grip. "His wife deserves to know," I said. And this time, when I walked out the door, I didn't look back. I sat in my car again, hands shaking as I scrolled through my phone. Rachel had told me Chris was married, but she conveniently didn't think his wife knew. Well, she was about to. It didn't take much digging. A quick search through Chris's social media showed a picture-perfect life, weekend hiking trips, anniversary posts, cute captions like "Forever my love, Red Heart." Disgusting. His wife's name was Olivia. I found her Instagram, clicked on a recent post. A selfie of her and Chris smiling at some vineyard, timestamped just last weekend. So while Rachel and Chris were sneaking around in some hotel room, he was out here taking romantic getaways with his real wife. I almost laughed. Rachel must have thought she was special. Thought Chris was going to leave Olivia for her. But the truth? Rachel was nothing more than a side piece. And now, she was about to find out. I stared at Olivia's profile, debating my next move. I could send her a message, but would she believe me? I needed proof. I scrolled back to Rachel's texts, selecting screenshots, messages, photos, hotel reservations. I didn't leave anything out. Then, I typed, "Hi Olivia, I know this is going to come as a shock, but your husband Chris has been having an affair with my wife. I've attached proof. I thought you should know." I hesitated for half a second. Then, I hit send. Almost instantly, the message showed red. Then, 3 dots appeared. Then, nothing. No response. Had she frozen? Started crying? Was she confronting Chris right now? I didn't know. But what I did know was that the bomb had been dropped. And the explosion was coming. I was about to start my car when my phone rang. "Rachel." I let it ring. Then, a text. "What did you do?" I smirked. Oh, she found out. She called again. This time, I answered. What the hell is wrong with you? She screeched. You had no right. No right? I cut her off. You lied to me for months, Rachel. You wrecked our marriage. And now you expect me to protect him. She was breathing hard. Panicked. You don't get it, she whispered. Then explain. She hesitated. I could hear the gears turning in her head. Then she said something that stopped me cold. Chris isn't who you think he is. I frowned. What does that mean? Silence. I could hear her pacing. Then she let out a shaky breath. You need to be careful, she whispered. A chill ran down my spine. What the hell are you talking about, Rachel? More silence. Then she hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone, my heartbeat hammering in my ears. Rachel sounded afraid. But why? Chris was just some cheating bastard. What was she so scared of? Before I could think too much about it, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was from an unknown number. I hesitated before answering. Hello? A deep, steady voice came through the speaker. You don't know me, the man said. But we need to talk. Now. I swallowed. Who is this? A pause. Then my name is Jason. I'm Olivia's brother. I gripped the steering wheel. How did you get my number? My sister gave it to me, Jason said. She's in shock right now. I don't think she can even process what's happening. But I can. And I need answers. I hesitated. I told her everything in the message. No, you didn't, Jason said, his voice sharp. Because this isn't the first time Chris has done this. My blood ran cold. What? Jason exhaled hard. Chris has a history. And not just with cheating. There's something you don't know. I stayed silent, waiting. When Olivia met him, he was charming. Perfect. But little things started happening. Lies. Manipulation. Then, she caught him cheating before. He swore it was a mistake. Begged for another chance. I clenched my jaw. And she gave him one? Yeah, Jason said bitterly. And guess what? It happened again. But this time, it's different. This time, he's not just lying. He's dangerous. I stiffened. Dangerous how? Jason hesitated. You ever wonder why Rachel sounded scared? My stomach twisted. Yeah, I had. What the hell are you saying, Jason? Jason's voice dropped lower. I don't think this affair was just an affair, he said. I think Rachel was in way over her head. And now, you're too. I swallowed hard. What are you talking about? Chris isn't just some guy who cheats, Jason said. He's done worse. A lot worse. A lump formed in my throat. Worse. I echoed. Jason took a deep breath. Then he said the words that made my stomach drop. People who cross him? They disappear. Jason's words echoed in my head. People who cross him? They disappear. I wanted to believe it was paranoia. Exaggeration. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. Rachel's panic. Her cryptic warning. The way she hung up. She wasn't scared of me exposing the affair. She was scared of him. I gripped the phone tighter. Jason, tell me exactly what you mean. A beat of silence. Then, I don't want to say too much over the phone. We need to meet. I exhaled sharply. Where? There's a diner off I-35, just outside the city. Midnight. Don't be late. And just like that, he hung up. I didn't go home. I didn't know if home was even safe anymore. Instead, I parked a few blocks away and scrolled through my missed messages. Rachel had sent 10. We need to talk. Please, call me. I'm serious. Don't do this. You don't know what you're getting into. I messed up, but this isn't just about us anymore. Chris is dangerous. Dangerous. There it was again. I closed my eyes. Exhaled. Then, against my better judgment, I called her back. She answered instantly. Oh my God, where are you? I'm fine. Please, just come home. We need to know. My voice was flat. We're past that. Silence. Then, her voice cracked. I never wanted you to find out like this. I let out a bitter laugh. Really? How did you want me to find out, Rachel? A Christmas card from Chris? A surprise dinner with all three of us? Stop, she whispered. I know I don't deserve sympathy, but I swear, if you keep digging, you're going to regret it. Is that a threat? No, she choked out. It's a warning. That should have been enough to stop me. It wasn't. The diner was nearly empty. A flickering neon sign buzzed above the parking lot. Jason was already there, sitting in the back booth, sipping black coffee. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He waved me over. Glad you came. I slid into the booth. Talk. Jason studied me. You really don't know, do you? Know what? He exhaled. Chris isn't just some cheating asshole. He's done this before. And every time, when things get messy, the other guy disappears. A chill ran down my spine. You mean? I mean they quit their jobs, leave town, cut all contact. And not voluntarily. I clenched my jaw. You think he's done something to them? Jason took a sip of coffee. I know he has. My stomach twisted. So what are we supposed to do? Go to the police? Jason shook his head. Cops won't do shit without proof. We need leverage. I frowned. Leverage. Jason slid a flash drive across the table. I did some digging. These are his finances. Chris has been embezzling money from his company for years. And I guarantee you, he'd rather kill someone than let this come out. My hands curled into fists. So what? We blackmail him. Jason smirked. No. We let his wife do it. The next evening, Olivia invited Chris to a special dinner. What he didn't know was that I'd be there too. And so would Rachel. When Chris walked in, his smug expression faltered. What the hell is this? I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed. Take a seat. Rachel was pale, hands shaking around her wine glass. She wouldn't meet his eyes. Olivia? She was ice cold. She tossed the flash drive onto the table. Recognize this? Chris's jaw tightened. What is this? Some kind of intervention? No, Olivia said. It's proof. Proof that you're a liar, a cheater, and a criminal. For the first time, I saw fear flicker in his eyes. This is bullshit, he snapped. Olivia smiled. Then you won't mind if I send it to your boss? Or the IRS? Chris shot up, knocking his chair over. You wouldn't. She leaned in, voice low. You ever threaten another woman's husband again, and you'll find out exactly what I'm capable of. Chris's eyes darted around, realizing he was cornered. I stood up. We're done here. Rachel flinched at my tone, but I didn't look at her. I had nothing left to say. Chris clenched his jaw. His hands curled into fists. For a second, I thought he was going to lunge. Instead, he let out a shaky breath, turned, and walked out. I knew we hadn't seen the last of him. But for now, the game was over. Rachel tried to talk to me after. I never wanted this to happen, she said, eyes glassy. I don't know why I did it. I stared at her. She was waiting for me to say something. Anything. I didn't. Instead, I took my wedding ring off and set it on the table. You knew what you were doing, I said. Her breath hitched. Then, I walked away. Olivia filed for divorce the next day. Chris vanished. Moved out of state. Probably looking for his next victim. And me? I got my own place. Started fresh. For a long time, I was just angry. But now? Now, I'm just free. Some betrayals break you. Others set you free.